I wanted to talk to Mark and Kieran, who've got TikTok-age children, really. And I think it sort of makes this whole political thing into a very generational divide, because I'm not sure how much, you don't have to answer if you don't feel comfortable, but if your children are using TikTok, how much are they really thinking about China when they're scrolling through TikTok, do you think?
Not in the slightest. Not on any level are they
Not
thinking
in
about
any...
China. I mean, the way I get around it is I make sure my daughter uses a name that has nothing to do with her, and then a different name on a different social network. So they'd have to work really, really hard to connect up whatever rubbish my daughter watches on TikTok with who she actually is
Mark,
now and in future.
Do many of your family, is TikTok a thing? Or?
Yeah, it is. And I think, for my older teenage daughters, I think there's more engagement with China, because actually a lot of the merchant selling that happens on the platform, which is a very, very important part of TikTok and its whole ecosystem, is Chinese based. So many of the things that my children are buying now, they're buying from TikTok stores from China. And I'm very aware of this because we have discussions about, it's got this one from China.
But aren't we getting that from every store in the world, rather than just TikTok stores?
I think there is an element of that across the board. So it may not be so specific, but there is definitely a link with TikTok and China, I think, because of the prevalence.
Okay, which takes us into security, which I'm really interested in. And this is the issue I have. Tom Tugendhat is repositioning. Kieran, I know you're a fan of, as a former Lib Dem candidate, of parties that are repositioning themselves. And I think they had a fantastic campaign of repositioning themselves as as sort of a river dance, literally in rivers. And I think that worked immensely well for sort of social media engagement and things, and reinvigorated the LinkedIns. And it's funny, isn't it, how that worked? But Tom Tugendhat repositioning the Conservative Party as more in the middle. They have to. They can't go hard right. They've got to pull people like me who are kind of wet, sort of leftish. But I should be a conservative. I own a house. I've got a business, but I'm not, because I don't identify with what the Conservatives are saying. What they said to me in the past is, we don't welcome your type in our schools. So that wasn't a good start. And now they're saying to us as a business, to me as a business person, we don't, for the last 14 years, we are the party of leadership. We don't actually do work, we lead. No, that's fair enough. There's a place for that. But I want to see, hard work paying. So I'm interested in the Labour Party. But that also includes evidence-based thinking. And I can't understand with this argument with TikTok, it's a security threat. As an engineer of many years, Mark, what's the security threat with TikTok?
I guess the challenges people would have would be just the data sharing aspects, and the fact that there's so much data being collected on that platform. And just the fact that if that data is going to a largely unregulated environment, then there's concerns about that would be the obvious thing.
Is it an unregulated environment, Emily, if the TikTok is operating in this country or the USA? I mean, I'm interested in this thing about banning. Where does bans work?
Bans are so difficult, especially, I really feel like if you're going to take TikTok away from young people, they're going to be really angry about it, because they love it, and it's very addictive. It's whatever algorithms they've got going, they really work in terms of getting young people to spend a lot of time.
They do.
I struggle with this, and I'd be interested in what Kieran thinks too, and what you guys think, but because it really echoes with the whole Huawei 5G debate. It's like you can really get the notional security risk, but it's a completely evidence-free conversation. If you could, now TikTok has been around for long enough that if there was bad stuff happening, would we have found out? But then you can feel like an idiot where you're sort of let's let it run, and then it turns out we've all lived through dreadful tech disasters where we were too complacent and too relaxed. So I really struggle with it. I haven't seen any evidence. I've also seen lots of evidence that TikTok as a company has gone, okay, look, we'll open up our code base to third-party inspection. We will guarantee to keep our data onshore in the European Union. others are not doing that sort of level of reassurance. But again, Kieran, I don't know what you think. Do you feel like it should be banned? Do you worry about the links with China?
No, I'm a very anti-ban kind of person philosophically. I mean, if TikTok is able to get hold of data by having an app on your phone that is national security, I mean, I don't quite know how it would happen. Then you imagine what Google and Apple have. Now, is that because the US has agreements with Google and Apple about the data that they're going to provide them, so they're happy with that? Or if they really are worried, why not put in sort of regulations in place that limit what apps can do? Or, which I think is the most practical solution, if you are working, say, for the government or in a sort of secure job, then yes, you have every right. Don't download the TikTok app on your phone. Done.
Mark,
in terms of banning a whole country, I think it's ridiculous.
Mark, as a techie, the internet is a massive network of networks that was designed to survive nuclear holocaust and provide communication networks. Can we ban TikTok in the UK?
So, in theory, yes, sort of. In practice, no, because there's ways to get around every thing you put in place. I mean, you can deroute networks at the sort of low level infrastructure level and hope that will cut things off. But there's always people who have access to secure VPNs that can circumvent this.
They're called a virtual private network that allows you to sort of tunnel in, if you like, and disguise your origin. Your source.
In exactly the same way as vice versa, people who live or operate in China and circumvent their own national firewall by accessing data in the West through the same channels. So very hard.
We'd be setting up a martyr of TikTok the Martyr, where the young people are still carrying on TikTok, operating on foreign soil. I mean, this is I mean,
and also like politicians use TikTok to reach first-time voters. Like Kamala Harris is smashing it on TikTok, isn't she? So, and we saw a lot of creative use of TikTok from some of the parties, not all of them, in the UK election. So, when politicians want to reach a certain segment of the population, TikTok is a really good way of doing it, but they need to step up in their imagination.